Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez.
I'm Hillary Rodriguez.
And today we are going to be reviewing Marvel Zombies. This was published in 2023 by CMON or CMON or whatever they are, and was designed by Michael Shinall and Fabio Curry.
It's a 1 to 6 player game. It says it plays in about an hour, and that time is going to really kind of change depending on what scenarios you're playing.
For sure. Also, I do want to shout out the artist, but I don't know how to say his name, so I'm going to put it like right here. Great. Got it? Cool. So, in this game, depending on which version you play as, you are playing as some kind of hero, either living or a zombie, and trying to get certain things done. But there are a horde of either zombies or living heroes in your way that you have to get through, and boy, will you be getting through them. You'll be getting through them by rolling dice and just slaughtering them left and right, honestly. Yep. Your character will get more powerful as time goes on and the danger rises, but that danger rises meaning that as you get more powerful, more and more enemies are going to show up that you have to deal with. And that is the extraordinarily basic gist of how Marvel Zombies works.
So, starting with the art and components, I think the very first thing to point out is there's a lot of miniatures with this game.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. Huh. I'll have to pay more attention next time. Yeah. I did get the all-in.
Yeah.
We got the all-in, so that's a lot.
But even with the base set, it's a lot of models, especially if this is kind of, I can see because people are fans of Marvel and people are fans of zombies, I can see this being kind of like their first little into game with models.
Sure.
And I can see that be very overwhelming because of the amount of models. However, they're really well done models.
Yes.
They're really detailed. They look really nice. They're not painted, but they are color coded, so it's easy to find the models that you're looking for. And there's not a lot of artwork with this game other than the boards. There's a little bit on the cards, but it's all really well done.
Yeah, I agree. And, the boards are really neat. If you look at those really closely, there's all kinds of cool, little...
They have a lot of detail in them.
Yeah, a lot of detail, a lot of cool little Easter eggs if you're a Marvel fan. You'll catch a lot of interesting little things in there that have been, ruined by the zombie apocalypse. The models just... I'm so baffled by current model or miniatures technology because, I remember back in the day buying Games Workshop minis, and if they were just one piece, they had to be in this weird kind of flat pose like this, because there's a 2-part mold, so they couldn't have they couldn't have things in front of other things.
Yeah.
You could not do that. And these things, I don't even understand. I don't understand how it's possible, because Games Workshop, they have similar detailed models, but you have to put them together, and it's a lot of pieces usually. I don't know how they do it, but they're phenomenal. The detail on them is really, really great. I do like the color coding too. There's a couple, the bystanders and the runners / specialists, depending on if they're the zombies or the living people, are kind of a similar color to each other. I think they're still different, but all those non-superhero beings are all this sort of a shade of brown, kind of a different one, depending on what type they are. Those two are kind of close, but that's minor. It's not really that big a deal.
The models look different enough that it's easy to tell them apart. Yeah,
absolutely. One of my favorite components, and this has been true, I think, in most Zombicide games. We haven't played the other Zombicide games, but the character tray that you have, where you put your character card in, and it keeps track of the danger level, which kind of works as the level of your characters as you defeat things and whatnot. I really like that little tray. I think it's really cool, really fancy. I was a little worried because the slider thing where you're keeping track of your danger level feels kind of weird, but it does click right into place. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like it's not going to work out great to me for some reason, but it has never been an issue. And it does click into each spot so that it's not going to slide higher or lower on accident, which would be a big pain in the butt. It wouldn't work out too good.
My one little gripe with the tray is actually with that danger meter. The coloring on it, sometimes it's a little bit hard. If you're just taking a quick glance, it can be hard to tell what color zone you're in, and that can make a big difference in the game.
Yeah, because the first stage is blue, and then it goes yellow, orange, red. But yeah, blue is obviously very different, but the other ones are a little close to each other. I don't know. If they could just choosing different shades, maybe it would have worked out. I'm not sure. But
well, they did a fade effect, and so that's why sometimes it's hard to tell which zone you're actually in.
Yeah, that's true. Other than that, all the tokens are fine. There's a lot of cards too. There's a lot of cards because they put everything in here for whether you're playing the mode where you're the zombie heroes or where you're playing the living heroes. So there's a lot in there. So you really have to pay attention when you're putting stuff out to make sure you're putting out the correct cards for whichever way you're playing.
Yeah, and they're all the really small cards, so they're can be difficult to shuffle as well.
Yeah, for sure. I don't shuffle things well. Anyway, I just don't. A few of the models have like a cool, like they use like clear stuff. So like Iceman has like the clear plastic. If you use Living Phoenix, like her, the Phoenix bird is all like oranges. Not too many have that, but it's a cool effect. Might make it tougher to paint if you're so inclined to do, because you have to really avoid those parts to mess them up. But that's okay. The dice are just kind of regular 6-sided dice, but the one spot is like these kind of like big gnashing teeth, which is really just a 1. If you're playing the living heroes, if you're playing like the zombie heroes, it has a different effect. But I think it's easy at a glance to look at that and think it's the 6 instead. I mean, it really would have to be at a glance. I think if you really look at it, that's what it is. But if you were to guess, if you were to look at that, you might think that that's probably supposed to be the 6 because it does, kind of take up the same amount of space on the die, if that makes sense. So, again, that's pretty minor quibble in my opinion, but nonetheless, it's there. Yeah. That's pretty much everything on components, I think, unless you have something else.
I do have one more thing.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
Okay. So what do you guys want to talk about? I don't know. She's oh. Uh-oh.
Or we do the theme song, but I don't know. So, this is Galactus. And, as you can tell, he's very big.
Yeah.
The base is extremely big.
Mm-hmm. It's like large pizza size, maybe, huh?
Yeah. And so I just it'll take up an entire board. We haven't played any of the scenarios with him yet, so maybe it makes sense while you're playing the scenarios, but the small models, sometimes you have so many of them, it's hard to put them all in one space. So I have no idea how this works on a board when he's taking up pretty much the entire board.
I think he's kind of part of the board itself. He
has to be.
Yeah. I was kind of looking at it, and they were showing different zones that models could be, which is weird because there's not a lot of purely flat things. There's some stuff on the base areas, I guess, but I think that's how they do it. I'm not certain. We were going to play that, but it was just kind of we just ran out of time. But yeah, he's quite large. But I would like to kind of defend him a little bit. Yes, this is an expensive add-on, clearly, but I come from playing Games Workshop games, and let me tell you, if Games Workshop came out with a model this big, for one, you'd have to put it together, and this would be a lot of pieces, by the way, and also, it would cost more than the entire Marvel Zombies all-in, probably by a lot, and shipping, CMON's famous shipping, it would cost more than that. I'm 100% certain that is true. So, comparatively, this guy's cheap. Comparatively. Dirt cheap. Comparatively. Can you afford to not have Galactus? I don't know if you can. I mean, that's... it's practically free when you think about it.
Nice try.
Yeah. Cool though, right?
It is a very cool model.
He's got different heads. This is the zombie one and a different arm. We've got living head and living arm too. Living head. Yeah, there he is. Looking a little better. Isn't that nice? I think every game could use a gigantic statue. I don't know what that would be for a farming game, but some big tractor? I don't know. Figure it out. Anyway, that's Galactus.
Yes. And that's art and components.
If all gamers can agree on anything, is that there are 2 genres in board games that there simply aren't enough of. There's Marvel and zombies. Are there even any games that have those themes?
Yeah.
I
We
don't know.
definitely don't have a wall full of them.
No, I've never
us.
even heard of that. It doesn't. I don't. This is brand new territory we're in right now. Yep, it's Marvel Zombies. That's what it's called. You probably knew that. So yes, it mashes those two things together, and I love that. This is based off a storyline they did. I don't know. It's 10, 15 years ago. I'm not sure. And I didn't read like the stuff after the first story arc. I read like the first one in graphic novel form. And to be honest, I didn't really love the story because I didn't like that the heroes were all just like, oh, I'm Spider-Man, and yeah, I've been a good guy, but well, now I gotta eat Aunt May. Darn it. You know, like, they seem to not be that upset about it. Like, I'm okay that they kept their intelligence if they were like, if they thought it was kind of tragic that they had to like do these things, but they really didn't seem to. They were just kind of like, psh, I mean, we're used to it now. You know? That kind of bug. I don't know. It was fine. It was an okay story, but I didn't like their particular take on how these Marvel zombies would be. That being said, it's a fun backdrop for a game. Yeah. It's really fun to be either zombies fighting living things and sometimes eating them, or being living heroes fighting zombies and hopefully not eating them. That'd be gross.
That'd be bad.
Yeah, rotten meat. Ooh, don't do that. But yeah, and you're going through and you have various objectives depending on your scenario. Every scenario is going to have a different story to it. And you're going to try to get that done. And I do think that they really captured the feel they're going for very well, especially with the zombie heroes, I think. I like that you have this hunger track that goes up. It goes up every round. And it's good because it gives you more dice to roll if you're more hungry. But if it gets to the end, then you're ravenous. And then you can only move and attack. And then if you get to the end of your turn, you're still ravenous. You take damage. And you don't have a lot of hit points in this game to take.
You do have more as a zombie than you do as a hero, though.
You do. And I think it's because it does potentially hurt you every round. So it makes sense. But either way, like you have to keep track of that. But I like that because you're constantly like, oh, I got to use because your attack that lets you eat people only hits one person. So, you know, you've got to use your attack to do that. And you have to make sure that you have enough dice to fight things. So you kind of want to be hungry, but you kind of don't. But it's great because I think that, as much as I can say, as anyone could say, I feel like that is how a zombie hero would be, and I think they capture that extremely well, personally.
Yeah, I do agree. I think that they captured the theme very well. There's a lot of games that we've played where we're like, you can kind of see where the theme is, like loosely. This game's dripping in theme. Mm. And, you know, I was a little worried that, you know, I think we're both a little worried about how, like, similar playing as a zombie or playing as a hero would be. Mm. And they did a really good job in actually really making it feel different depending on what side you're playing as. Yeah,
because if you're the hero, that hunger track, because you don't need to eat every so often, well, you do, not in the game. Anyway, is replaced by a power track. And you can choose one of your actions to power up, what gets you up 2 on the power track. But a lot of your abilities, you have to spend that to use them. Or you can use them to get more dice, but you don't just automatically just because you have it up there. It's a different... You're really managing a resource almost in that case where it's just kind of different as a zombie. But I like that they feel so different. Like it sounds like a small difference, but it really actually does make quite a big difference. I think we agree that the zombie mode feels much more tense. I think because you are constantly like, I gotta get something to eat. I have to use that one attack to do it. But when I do that, I'm gonna be a lot weaker because I won't have as many dice. You
have to really time when you're gonna feed or not, or consume is what they call it.
Consume. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I think they captured it really brilliantly. Now, as a comic book nerd, I haven't been up to date, so I'm not up to date. Sometimes it is hard for me to look at this and be like, you know, Dark Phoenix is probably around as good a choice as Black Cat is. No shade on Black Cat. She's a great character. But Black Cat's gonna claw one person apart at a time. Whereas Dark Phoenix could be like, you know what? I'm just going to use the Phoenix Force to consume the whole Earth right now. So it's different. You see what I'm saying? But that would make for a cruddy game, wouldn't it? you would either never pick Dark Phoenix because it's too damn easy, or you would be like, why would I ever pick Black Cat when there's these 90 other heroes that are, of course, clearly more powerful. So, of course, they have to make it so it's not that way. That being said, I think they did a great job of making the characters feel like who they're supposed to be, even at their base power, because you get more powers as you go up on that danger track. And so it becomes more and more like how you would imagine they are as they get up there. But even at their base power, you'd be like, this makes sense. At least all the ones that I've looked at, it makes sense for that.
Yeah, it's like, I think the one where, like, his power still makes sense, but, like, it's not, like, in the obvious way, is Wolverine, because out of all his superpowers, healing is one of the biggest factors that he's known for. And he doesn't really heal himself. I think the very last red power, I think he can avoid a wound. But for the most part, he doesn't heal himself, but he does become more powerful as he takes wounds. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that was they probably wanted to do it, but I'm guessing balancing would have been tougher with that. So it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, what he does have though, I mean, like, because he does more damage when he takes more wounds. That makes sense because he gets kind of berserk and like more angry, and he becomes like a little whirling dervish and adamantium blade. So it makes sense too. But yeah, I agree. Like, everyone thinks healing factor probably almost more than anything else about Wolverine, but still, I think they did a good job.
Yeah. So overall, I do really enjoy this game. I do like that there is a difference between the playing as the zombies or playing as the humans. I personally kind of like playing as the humans a little bit more, just because playing as the zombies does have that more higher intensity with that hunger, because this game has a lot of luck in it. It's rolling dice, and the objectives are kind of randomized. So you might get an objective that's really close to you. You might get an objective that's really far from you. There's a lot of like kind of randomness in this game. And so for me, like, I kind of like it. It's a beer and pretzels type of game. So I kind of like the little less intense version. I don't mind I like playing as the zombies, but probably, more often than not, when we're playing this game, I would prefer to play as the humans.
Yeah, I get that. I'm kind of the opposite. I think I like that particular kind of tension, although I would not always be in the mood for it. Sometimes I'd be like, you know what, I want to be a little more chill. Let's play the heroes. But I think I like that tension that you get from playing the zombies. One thing I notice about the missions, and granted, I have not read every single mission, but every mission that we tried is basically some variation of, you need to go here to get this thing or find this thing, and then you need to go to this other place. Like, that's kind of what the very basic structure seems to be. Now, again, there could be others that we just didn't happen to pick for whatever reason, which is fine. I understand the reasoning for that, because they want you to have to cross the map a lot, because they want to have time to build up and get more, and it'd be boring if you just did a straight shot. It wouldn't make sense. And the map layouts and everything can be pretty different, so it's not exactly a problem. I do think for me, like, it helps to kind of like read the story of what you're doing, so it makes more sense. Like, oh, I have to get him because he's the one, I can't remember the guy's name who made the Sentinels, but him over to here to like get this beacon to shut off or whatever, so the Sentinels stop coming at us. Like, that makes sense to me, even though it's functionally the same as find this objective and then take it over here. It's the same thing, but personally, it helps me to have the story. I don't know. What do you think?
I know you're a lot more into in theme and like get wrapped up in whether the theme is in the game or not. To me, it doesn't, like, I mean, I don't mind having the background story, but as far as like playing the game, it doesn't make a difference to me. My brain goes into, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? How do we need to do that? Okay, let's go. And so, having that background story, like, I like listening to it, but then once we start playing, it kind of leaves my brain.
That's fair. It's not how my brain works. So in a sense, I do understand it, but I also I'm like, I don't know, what? Like, what? Yeah. But it's fine. But yeah, okay. Does that bother you that there is that kind of similar element in at least the missions that we played?
Because we've played a handful of games, so since we've only played a handful of games, it doesn't bother me. If we were playing this like if this was a game that we're playing like on a weekly basis, I would start to burn out on it.
Yeah.
But I think since especially given I mean, just in general with us doing this channel, it's hard for us to get back to games. So how often we're going to be actually playing this game, I think it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. You mentioned that this is a beer and pretzels kind of game. Mm-hmm. And I think it definitely is. Like it's not exactly a light game, but it's not as heavy as you might think it is when you're looking at it. Like it looks like, oh, there's so many cards and there's so many models and all these stuff. It's really not that difficult to pick up and learn how to play it. It's really not. And you are just going to be chucking dice to like mow through whatever your enemies are. And because of that, and because of the randomness, which can lead to either a lot of good luck or a really sudden failure, can certainly happen. Like, I think you just have to go in knowing, like, hey, we're going to, have some chaos here. We're going to toss some dice and see what happens and go through.
Yeah.
You can't go into this one, I think, taking it super seriously because you just can't strategize that far ahead. It
is one of those things where, like, if you have a game where you die suddenly at the very early on in the game, it's a game that's easy enough to re-rack and play that scenario again. But there definitely is some luck. We played a game, normally it's just the two of us playing, and it is a minimum 4-character game. So if there's only 2 of you playing, then you're going to be playing multiple characters. And so, and that's part of the reason why I kind of prefer the human playing as the humans, because if we're actually playing with 4 characters, I would probably the playing as the zombies wouldn't bother me as much. But if I'm trying to keep track of 2 different characters, I like a little bit more the simplicity of playing as the humans. A little less to keep track of. But we did play a game with some friends of ours, and in that game, like, there was like 2 times where we could have easily lost the game very quickly. And then it turned out like we ended up kind of winning the game. That felt like fairly quickly at the same time, because one of our friends, they open a door which spawns bad guys. And like they kind of got rushed, and so like they could have very easily have died, because when the bad guys attack, they just attack. There's no negating. Yeah, they just hit you. Any hits. So, and you don't have very many hit points. And we're playing as the human heroes. So we only had like 3 health. Yeah. So it doesn't take a lot of zombies to come at you for you to die. And so luckily there was a couple maneuvers around that. So we managed to barely get past that. Yeah, we got real lucky that certain things were able to be worked out, like with what power she had, where she could move another character and all that stuff, so we could divide up the damage. It was almost like an early fail in that game. And then same with the winning conditions. Like it was that scenario with the sentinels, and you had to get a certain bystander and find the objective. And I was the one with the bystander, and like the room that I was gonna go into, when I opened up the door, a superhero spawned, and I'm like, well, I'm by myself, so I can't handle a superhero, so I'm gonna run and join the rest of you up here. And the objective that we needed actually happened to be up where the rest of the players were anyways. So we just kind of lucked out in the timing of where the bystander was and where the objective was. Yeah, for sure. That's just how it goes. A lot of luck. I don't necessarily mind that, because I think it adds to some like fun tales of the things that happened. Can. So like when we were, Doc Ock and Dark Phoenix, and we just got overwhelmed by the shield guys, and that was a game where it's like, okay, and Wolverine almost died. Yeah, it's like, if the next card we pull is this, we're going to lose. Yeah. And like there was so much tension there, because it was like, and it did eventually get us, but we survived a couple of moments like that where it's like, okay, we get the wrong card, we're screwed. But yeah, but I kind of enjoy that. It's fine. If you're someone who has, I don't know why you play a co-op game if you have trouble losing, because in general they're hard. But like, it
if you don't like to lose
Yeah.
under those kind of circumstances, like, may not be for you.
Yeah.
But I don't mind as long as I know that's what it is.
Yeah, so I like co-op games. I like difficult games. I think where like this loses me just a little bit is the luck of where it's like I like co-op games that are difficult that are a little bit more strategy based. So
Yeah, I think I do too. I generally prefer games a little bit thinkier than this at least. But I'm not trying to say it's like completely stupid. Like it's not such a random thing that you might as well just go flip a coin and call it a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a ton of it to it. I generally like a little bit more thought, but sometimes I'm going to be in the mood for something that's a little bit just sillier.
yeah,
and
definitely.
Fun.
So
All right, so time for our final scores. One of review games, we have a scale going from 1 to 10. If it is a 5, it is an absolutely, totally middle of the road, totally take it or leave it, kind of game. If it's a 1, it's basically unplayable, or it makes us so angry to play it or sad to play it that we don't want anyone to come near that game because we fear it will have psychological damage to you. Haven't had any of those yet. We've come close. A 10 is a game that is either perfect or it's so damn good that whatever flaws we do notice don't even matter. Like it just overwhelms them with goodness. It doesn't matter at all. So that is our scale. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So with all that being said, I'm going to give I was kind of going back and forth on my score on these games, and I think I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's a fun game. I do like that, it can kind of scale based off of whether you're playing as the humans or those zombies. Really, my knock with it is the randomness. It's what it is for this type of game. But for me personally, like, I kind of prefer games that have a little bit more strategy in them than just kind of, this is what we're doing and we're rolling dice.
I think that's fair. So we're back on track with each other. we kind of strayed in the last one, but I'm also at 8. Mine's a zombie 8, so yours is a living 8. So
Okay.
A little different,
yeah,
but similar. Actually, my thoughts on it are kind of much like I think it's a blast to play. I really do. I think it's awesome that you can go through and just wreck so many bad guys in like a turn. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like you're like, holy smokes! Psylocke just whomped people. Like that was great. I do love that. That's fantastic. I do think, just my general taste, like sometimes I will be in the mood for this kind of game, but I think I generally like games that you have to think a little bit more, just in general. Like, this is fine. I love the dice chucky goodness, but things where you have to have a little more, or you can have a little more strategy, maybe, is my preference. Even if my strategies suck, I don't care. I still like to have them a little bit more. And I don't want to doubt, it's not like this absolute, coin flip random game, but it's just meant to be a dice rolling fun fest, and it is. Yeah. It does that really well. So you might like that more or less than me, but I am absolutely happy to play this any old time. I love everything. I love the setting so much. I love being Marvel everything's. So many Marvel people. I am filled with joy that I have this entire thing, but again, you don't need it. But so that's, I'm blown away by the Marvelness. It's a lot. I'm glad they finally came out with a Marvel game and a zombie game. Took them long enough. Okay, so that is our scores. We have an 8 and a zombie 8. So the same, but different. There you go. So coming up in the channel, I'm going to tell you about the same thing I told you about forever. We are going to be comparing Lorcana and Magic the Gathering and Grand Archive. That's still in the works. We need to get in there and play some Magic. I'm not 100% certain what the next review is going to be, so I'm going to refrain from saying for sure. I'm heavily leaning one way, but there's a lot going on in that game. So we'll see what happens. I may have to squeeze something in before that one, so I don't want to say. But there are going to be reviews coming. It's happening. Anyway, and there's a lot of unboxings that'll come out too, because I have a lot saved on my computer right now. So, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe. Click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time we put out a video. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you all around the table again at All Games New and Old.
Bye.
Bye. If it is a 1, it is a game that is basically unplayable or pisses why can't I say that? Anyway, I hope you... hey, you made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like it, share it, and click this button to subscribe. If you like that one, you might also like this one.
Or this one.
I cannot believe what I did in that one. Holy cow.
I can.
Of course you can. All right. Anyway, we'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.